Hello, everyone. Hello, Professor Forrest. My name is Shannon Masterson, and I'm here today to speak about something extremely important, our children. There's so much going on in our world today, especially in the media, that has to do with gender, sexual orientation, gender identity. There are new terms and new laws every day, and it can be a lot to take in. And for parents, it can certainly be overwhelming. I know for myself, it's hard not to be fearful. I'm sure all parents feel the same way. We ask ourselves, am I making mistakes? Do I discipline well? Am I too nice? Am I too strict? Does my child have boundaries? Do they know their boundaries? Do I let my child express themselves? Do I encourage them to? Am I doing good enough? I do not expect to remove all your parenting worries with this presentation. I do not expect to magically give you all the answers to all the questions that we have. I'm just a parent too. And my only goal with this presentation is to educate you on some of the basics. Sometimes knowing what's in our control and what's not can be more helpful than we realize. It allows us to focus on the things that are our responsibility to mold and not all the things that aren't. So with that being said, I want to talk specifically today about gender, boys and girls, and what better place to start than at the beginning. Well, I'm going to skip the birds and the bees. I'm sure we all already understand how the conception part happens. So let's jump to we're pregnant. Okay, so in regards to biology, the gender of a baby is determined right away. The chromosomes decide the gender of a fetus before it's really even considered a fetus. In nature, we have no say of the baby's sex. There may be some old wives' tales about it, but in reality, we have no control of the physical gender of our children. We understand some of the physical differences between boys and girls, such as the different organs and the part those organs play in reproduction. We know that the amount of muscle and fat in our bodies tend to differ. Women carry the babies, so they have wider hips. Men tend to have more muscle in their upper bodies and are typically stronger than women overall. Young boys tend to be more active, and girls tend to have better fine motor coordination. Some physical abilities are based on practice and experience. Because parents believe boys are meant to be better at physical activities like sports, they get more practice, which has a large impact on developing these motor skills. In other cultures, girls are given different opportunities. For example, in smaller Australian or Aborigines groups, girls are expected to hunt and throw just as well as boys, and many times, because of their training and practice, they do. So we may actually be putting limits on our children's skills and abilities. Perhaps we should not assume our children's strengths based on their gender. But we also know that gender goes beyond just biology. We have gender roles corresponding with each gender. There are expectations that we have placed on both sexes. Every culture in every time period, and also now, has beliefs surrounding the way men and women are set to behave, what their personalities will be like, even what their interests are going to be. All this is attributed to what's called gender stereotypes. Some personality traits are associated with each gender. Male traits called instrumental because they describe individuals that address and influence the world. Female associated traits are called expressive. They describe an emotion-based personality with a strong value in interpersonal relationships. Before elementary school, usually just around age 4, children already begin learning these stereotypes. These stereotypes cover more than just behavior and personality. They range from the toys they will play with as toddlers all the way up to the occupations they can and will have in adulthood. Are we actually handicapping our children? Can this cause more harm than good in their individual development? It may even be so much a habit we don't realize we do it. We may all be guilty of believing that a doll is a girl toy or a truck a boy toy. But why? These assumptions can be doing an injustice to our children. For example, we have believed for a long time that girls have better verbal skills than boys, that maybe their brains actually process words and language more sufficiently. However, findings do not match this long-term assumption. If boys are not expected to be strong readers, then the standards for them are lower. How is that just? Also, boys at one point in time had higher math achievements than girls. However, once girls were exposed and educated the same exact way, that achievement gap becomes very small. In regards to behavior, girls are said to be more sensitive to other people's feelings. But I think that's because they're allowed to be more sensitive with their own. How many of us have heard boys shouldn't cry? If boys are discouraged from recognizing and feeling their own emotions as young children, how would we ever expect them to recognize or care about someone else's in adulthood? Why do parents and society eliminate this as an expectation? Furthermore, even with all of our knowledge, education, and technology, we still see major differences in occupations in our country. In 2013, a study concluded that around the globe, women only hold about 28% of positions in scientific research and development. And here in the United States, women only make up about a quarter of those STEM occupations. STEM, S-T-E-M, is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and math. On a side note, women in these fields typically earn an average of 31% less than men. This is a very popular topic lately. It is a slightly different conversation, but it is one worth having. A child can and should be taught that qualifications for certain jobs are based on interests and skills, not gender. Many researchers believe, and I quote, gender is overemphasized in children. We all know our history, and we know where traditional gender roles come from. But our situation today differs from these old ideas. Often, men and women both work outside the homes to help financially support the family. I think our parenting habits have some catching up to do. The roles and stereotypes are less necessary today. And we should really keep this in mind if our goal is for our children to be open-minded and successful. We want them to grow and help contribute to the world that we live in a positive way. Continue, parents, all of you, to love your children and always do what's best for them. And really, my best tip from fellow mom to other moms and dads out there is follow your gut. Thanks for being here, and thank you for listening.